welcome. My name is Lauren, and in today's video we're beginning a new Color With Me series, and we're going to be coloring the leaves page from Magical Jungle by Johanna Basford. As I've said in a couple of my previous videos, I'm not a big fan of coloring leaves, mainly because I find them a bit repetitive and sometimes it's difficult to find color combinations for them. Nevertheless, I plan to challenge myself and you, if you join me, to find some different color combinations to color this page. So let's get started. So this is the page I've chosen. It's a double page spread with lots of different leaves, and the color combination that I've decided on is from Sarah Renee Clark's color catalog, or color cube if you have her cubes, and the palette is 448. So it's pistachio, mulberry, terracotta, burnt sienna, turquoise, and teal. The turquoise and teal colors are actually quite similar. And so I'll discuss how I chose pencils for these colors, including these two, in a moment. So in order to choose the colors for the pencil, I used the Dopely website, and there is a video on my channel on how to use the Dopely website, how to choose colors using this website, and how to apply them to a particular page. So as I said, I used Dopely, and I have noted down in my notebook the colors that I've chosen. I'll be using a range of colors from Derwent Inktense and from Faber Castell Polychromos. If you don't have Polychromos pencils, you can exchange the colors with Prismacolors. And if you don't have the Inktense, then you just base with the lightest color, either in the Polychromos or the Prismacolors. Okay, so the colors that I will be using are from the Inktense: Mallet Green 1230, Deep Rose 0710, Fuchsia 0700, Crimson 0530, Baked Earth 1800, and then a range of teals. So Sea Breeze 1225, Green Aquamarine 1220, and Mineral Blue 1215. Okay, I will also be using one pencil from the Spectrum Noir color blend, Duck Egg, which is light aqua in the Prismacolor, or you can just use the lightest Polychromos pencil as well. So from Polychromos, we're going to be using Cobalt Green 156, Deep Cobalt Green 158, Light Magenta 119, Middle Purple Pink 125, Magenta 133, Caput Mortuum Violet 263, Cinnamon 189, Medium Flesh, I have the old set, it's called Coral now, and it's 131. Pompeian Red 191, Venetian Red 190, Indian Red 192, Burnt Sienna 283, Light Cobalt Turquoise 154, Cobalt Turquoise 153, and Helio Turquoise 155. So these are the colors that I'm using. I'm also using a water brush, or you could just use a regular round 6 watercolor brush. Okay, so now that we have our colors and our color palette, let's get started on the page. Okay, let's get started. This is our page, and we are going to be following the order of colors from Sarah Renee Clark's palette. So it's pistachio, mulberry, terracotta, burnt sienna, turquoise, and teal. The turquoise and teal actually go together. Let's put that to the side, and let's zoom in. Okay. Make sure I'm in frame. Okay, so we're going to be starting with this leaf over here. And as I said, we're going to be basing with Inktense, and the first color is Mallard Green. Now, in order to have a base color, we need to go in with this pencil very lightly. The best way to get a light layer of color is to use very light pressure, and to do that you hold your pencil a little bit further down on the barrel, and that way you can get a light layer. I'm not sharpening my pencils because it's just a layer that we're a base layer that we're going for. So very lightly just put this layer down onto the leaf. Okay. All right, don't worry so much about lines or anything, because this is a water medium and we will be going over it with water. Okay, now I'm leaving the center part of this leaf white, okay, for now. Later on we will go in with colors. Okay. Oh, let me just put a piece of card underneath so that we don't get anything on pages beneath. Okay, so very light layers. Okay, the next color that we said is mulberry. So we are going to go in with the, we can choose either fuchsia or deep rose. I'm thinking let's go with fuchsia. And again, a light layer, and we just go over the leaf very lightly. And as I said, at this point, we're not worrying about anything except getting the color down. And again, I am just light layer, holding the pencil away from the tip, and I'm leaving these areas white. Okay. Okay, I think what I'm gonna do now is just put in this color. Okay. Very lightly. Okay, there we go. Okay. It's okay even if you go out of the lines a little bit, because it's going to be much lighter once we put the water down, and also we're going to be going over it with pencil as well. So no need to worry about that either. Okay, our next color is going to be crimson. Okay, so it's 0530, and again, just lightly, base layer. Okay, the reason we do the base layer is to cover up the white of the page. Okay, you could basically do this without Inktense. You can do it with one of the other pencils. Okay, all we're trying to do is cover up the white of the page. Okay, it will also give the page some more tooth. This paper is, the paper in this book is quite smooth. So by adding a water medium, we are actually adding tooth to the paper. Okay, so just put down the pencil any way you like. There's no rhyme or reason to it. You just put the pencil down. Okay, again, don't worry if you go outside the lines a little bit. It all works out in the end. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we're leaving this these areas white because we're going to do something else with them later on. Okay. Our next color is Baked Earth. Yes, Baked Earth, 1/800. Okay. So as I was saying, I'm not a fan of coloring leaves because it can get very boring and repetitive, especially if you're coloring leaves all the same color combination. So that's why I decided for this page to go with colors that are not traditional for leaves. Okay, colors that are traditional for leaves are greens, but I felt that we could try something a little bit different. The beauty of leaves is that they come in every single color of the rainbow in nature, so you don't have to color leaves green all the time. Okay, and one more, we're going to go for green aquamarine 1220. Okay, so yeah, so as I was saying, leaves come in all different colors in nature, so we can make our leaves all different colors as well. Okay, and also if you do that, then it doesn't get too repetitive. So that's also why I've chosen different base layer colors as well. Okay. Again, no worries, just very lightly lay down the color. Okay. Okay, for the next one, we're going to do a different color of that pink. We had fuchsia here, and we're going to put deep rose over here. Okay. Leaving these other bits and pieces white. Oh, I think one of my neighbors is going somewhere. I hear one of those rolling suitcases. I'm not sure if you can hear it on the video too. Yeah, so I live in a relatively small town, and my neighborhood, I've lived in this neighborhood my whole life, and so I know all of my neighbors quite well. And what's so interesting about it is that it's sort of like a community. We have some stores, and we have some apartment buildings, and there's a school. So everybody knows everybody, which is really nice. Okay, and next we're going to go back to our mallard green for this one. Now this one we can just go over everything because there are no white sections. So when you're doing the edge of a page, it's always good to flick your pencil over the edge like this so as not to tear the page. Sometimes I forget, but I try. Okay, very lightly. Okay, now we're going to get into the corner there of the page. So let's just do that. Again, it doesn't really matter which direction you're going with your pencil because it's all going to get smushed together with the water. As long as it's a light layer. Let's maybe turn our page, okay, so that we can get into this area. Oops. It's difficult, the binding areas are difficult, so let's just do what we can. Don't worry so much. As I said, it's going to get covered over and smooshed together with water. Okay. All right. So now let's move on to the water. Okay, so I have a water brush full of water, and you could also use a regular paintbrush. And I also have a towel that I can wipe my brush on so that I don't mix my colors. And I have a piece of paper to rest my hand on. So now we're going to go in. First of all, I squeeze just a drop of water and then brush it off so that I don't have too much water on my brush. And then I just go over and activate the Inktense. Now Inktense is a very pigmented pencil, okay? And even a light layer of pencil is going to give you a lot of color. Keep in mind that any water medium, including Inktense, will dry much lighter than the initial color that you get when you apply the water. So even though you seem to see a really dark color now, when it dries, it's going to be lighter, okay? And that's why Inktense actually makes a really nice base layer for pencil. Okay, so I finished doing that pencil, and so I squeeze some water, wipe off my brush, so that when I go into the next leaf, I don't have any green on my water brush, and I can make sure that I don't mix colors. Okay, right, so now we're going to be doing this leaf. Okay, again, yeah. If you feel at any time that there's too much water coming out of your water brush, you can always wipe it off on the towel. If also you feel there's not enough water coming out of the water brush, then you can give the water brush a little squeeze and more water will come out. But be careful that you don't end up with a puddle. Okay, so again, I wipe off on my cloth. Okay, and as you can see, the colors are getting smushed together and we're getting a pretty even layer of color. Okay, I love Inktense. They're such versatile pencils. You can do so much. You can even, here I'm just putting down a single layer of color, but you can also mix the colors together to get new colors, to get layering. Yes, some really lovely pencils that do a lot. So as you saw, I didn't put any color in there. I just took some of the color that was on my brush and put it on that little area there where I didn't have color before. Okay. Okay, wipe every so often if you feel there's too much water. Okay. This part of the process is quite relaxing. That is one thing about coloring leaves and flowers. Because there's not much thought put into the process, it can be very relaxing. but for me, the relaxation factor does not outweigh the repetitive factor. So anyway, the nice thing about coloring and coloring books in general is that there's something for everyone. I know there are lots of people who just adore coloring leaves. Okay, so I have put the color down for that. And now I'm going over to my next leaf. Okay, I'm moving my page to make sure that I don't put my hand down on the page because I don't want to smudge any of the color. And again, see here, I went into this line. It doesn't matter. By the time we're finished, that any going over the lines will not be evident because we're going to go over with lots of layers of colors. Okay, if you watched my previous videos, you'll notice that I am a layerer. I like to lay color down in lots of layers. Some people like to put down the layers more quickly than I do, and that's one of the things about Prismacolor that's good, that you can put down just a couple of layers, smush them together, and get a desired result. Polychromos pencils, on the other hand, are harder, and they are primarily oil-based as opposed to Prismacolor, which are primarily wax-based. And because they are oil-based, you can get a sharper point, you can get into small areas, but you need to layer them. And when I say primarily, I mean that the majority of pencils, in fact, all colored pencils, are made of a mix of oil and wax. Some have more wax, like Prismacolor, and some have more oil, like Polychromos. But there's no such thing as a completely wax pencil and a completely oil pencil. What matters the most is how much pigment is in the pencil, and Polychromos pencils have a lot of pigment, as do Prismacolors. Okay, so I'm wiping off and moving on to our next. I'm going to squeeze a little bit more water out of my brush. Okay, and we're off to our next one. Oh, this baked earth color is just gorgeous. This rich yellow is really a lovely color. The crimson is a bit more muted, but after we put the pencils on top, everything is going to be much deeper and richer. Okay. Okay, and squeeze again, because the difference between this color and the next one is quite stark. And if I have yellow on my brush and I go into my blue leaf, I'm going to get green. So even that's not the end of the world. Even if that happens, it's good. It's fine, because leaves in nature are also a mix of different colors. So the leaves don't have to be the same color. Okay, again, don't worry about going over the lines, because by the end it will look completely different. Okay, another thing that I want to talk about in terms of coloring pages is what I call the ugly duckling effect. Okay, so every coloring page is a work in process, okay? And so the result that you get immediately after laying down 1 or 2 or 3 or even 4 layers of pencil or Inktense is not going to be the end result, and it might look really ugly at first, but once you've finished the process, then it will look fabulous. So don't worry about what I call the ugly duckling phase of the page. We will definitely have that, but everything will be wonderful and beautiful at the end. Okay. So we're just putting in the water. Okay, again, if you feel you've got too much, wipe it off. If you feel you've got too little, give it a squeeze. Okay. So I've learned that using watercolors, whether it's with Inktense or watercolor pencils or even watercolor out of a pan, sometimes you just have to let the watercolor do what it wants to do. It is a notoriously difficult medium to control. You have more control when you use pencils, but even with pencils, sometimes you just have to let it do its thing. Okay, so this one we had a lot of scribbling, so I am going to be using circular motions to make sure that I don't have too many lines. But even if you have some lines, don't worry about it. Those lines will be blended out once we put pencil on top. Okay. All right, and here in the edge, here in the fold of the paper, in the spine, I'm just going to do that bit first. And as you can see, all of those lines that we had are being blended out. So yeah, don't stress over it, just put the color down because it all gets blended out. Okay. Right, so there we go. We have our layer of Inktense down on our page. Okay, so I'm going to stop here. Let me zoom out so you can see the whole effect so far. Okay, so as I said, I'm going to stop here and I am going to base the rest of the page off camera, and I will see you after I've done that. Right, so I'm back and I have finished basing the page. So here it is. Unfortunately, I can't get the whole double page onto the camera, but we're going to look at it side by side. So here on the left, I continued basing with Derwent Inktense in the same colors as we did at the top. And I just picked leaves at random to base with the various colors. And I also added a little ladybug there. And the same on the right side of the page. So I chose leaves at random and based with Derwent Inktense, and of course I left white areas because we're going to do something a little bit different with those when we start shading with pencil, and I left the little snail as well. And so the next stage is to shade with the Polychromos pencils, but that will be in a separate video. So I hope that you will join me for the next few videos in which we continue coloring this page together, and I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like and consider subscribing, and of course join me for the rest of this Color With Me series. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.